I'm gonna move back a little bit because the way I have to do this time, apparently I need to. Sadly, I'm still stuck in the bed. Hoping that will change soon with the weather. And sadly, I'm having my well, this isn't sad. I'm having my surgery in a week and a half, and I am extremely excited about that. What I'm not excited about is the fact that my condition could move to my stomach, but the risk of it possibly moving there, rather than completely moving there, is higher than letting myself gain any more weight. I'm hoping by the time the surgery day comes, I will have lost more weight. We'll see. Stop it, Wheatley. But what I really wanted to talk to you guys about today is something I feel we need to get out into the air, which is how I came to be heavy in the first place. To know that, you would have to go back to my childhood. When I was trying to remember the date. I believe, when I was 5 years old. My mom and my dad had been divorced for 2 years, and my mom married this man named George Hornback. Well, he immediately started abusing us children, and my mom helped him. For me, when I was 5 years old, I was told that I blocked a lot of this out, but I was told that I had sat in his favorite chair, and because he was mad at that, he picked me up and threw me into a wall. I was 5. Most of the abuse I blocked out because I couldn't deal with it at the time, and I wasn't allowed to turn to food as a comfort because my mother would starve me because she knew my father's side of the family was large people. So I would literally not be allowed any more than what was put on my plate. If I was still hungry, it wasn't allowed. And I could see my sisters and brothers getting more food than me, and even getting seconds, and I was never allowed, so I'd always have to go hungry. While this kept me thin, it also started a psychological problem with food for me. My stepfather's abuse turned to having us sit on the hearth of our fireplace, which was complete concrete, holding the stack of heaviest books known to man, and if you dropped them, your time would start over again, and this was for hours and hours. I mean, it wasn't just for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, no, this was for hours. And it deteriorated my knees so badly that by the time I got to high school, I had to wear braces and could no longer do PE. But that's a little later in this story more. But another thing he liked to do to us was waterboarding, or as they called it back then, the Chinese water torture, where they would hold you down and pour water on your faces till you couldn't breathe. I, for the longest time, had the hardest time having water go over my face after they divorced, which thankfully they did. They divorced when I was 7, I think. And by the time I was 8, my mother married John Hutchinson, and he was my dad. I mean, I have a biological father, but John was my dad. And he had multiple sclerosis, and all the abuse ended there when I was 8, except for the starving of me. That changed when I started gaining friends that would give me stuff and encouraged me to steal candy and stuff like that. So I started doing that kind of stuff and eating at their houses whenever they let me come over, and I would get as much as I wanted. And by the time I was 10, I could say I was probably about 60 pounds overweight. I'm the shortest in my family, so that is actually 10 is actually when I started gaining weight. So I'd say more so when I was 12, I was about 60 pounds overweight. And my mom knew it was out of her hands at that time. So I would eat what I wanted, when I wanted. And I just kept gaining weight. And my mother, she wasn't a very good cook. So we had things like macaroni and cheese, the boxes, and the ramen noodles, and hot dogs, and pre-made hamburger patties, and french fries you'd put in the oven. At least she knew how to do that. And she did do one dish well, but it was one dish. And that was chicken and dumplings. She was taught by her mom how to do the chicken and dumplings, and she kind of did it with us, and I never watched her make it really, so I never knew how she made it, but I knew she used lard. And I enjoyed it. Believe me, I enjoyed that dish of hers. By the time I was 12, maybe 14, it could be 14. Yeah, it was closer to 14 because I took home economics and it taught me how to bake. I started making my own experimentations with baking, and I made a really good cinnamon bread everybody loved with and stuff, and it was an interesting time, let me tell you. I loved baking, and I still love baking. But I also was rampant with stomach issues and problems. I never knew what was wrong with me, nor did doctors. Later to find out it was celiac disease. But, that wasn't around at that time. So I kept gaining weight, eating things I shouldn't, eating numerous things. And one thing I really had was a terrible sweet tooth. I still do. I struggle with it, but now I'm doing sugar-free, and I'm limiting how much I get. And with my baking, I use my gluten-free flour, which is made of fava beans and garbanzo beans, and I use stevia as the sweetener. And yeah, so it's better for me, but it's not the greatest, I guess you could say. So when my high school days came, the damage done by the abuse was so bad that both of my knees were completely shot. I couldn't climb the stairs, and there were like 4 or 5 staircases in my high school. I couldn't climb them without major issues, so I had to wear braces when my mom took me to the doctor. They did scans on my knees and found I had what they called bubbles of water on my knees. They told me I had to wear braces on my knees, gave me a note excusing me from PE, so I ended up going to the weightlifting place where it would count as my PE, and hey, I learned how to lift weights and could lift up to 300 pounds at that time. not anymore, no. No, I wouldn't be able to do it. But back then, I was young, silly. I never really cared about my weight or how bad I was getting until 2014 when I learned I had reached 340 pounds. That coupled with the fact that I had precancer in my uterus. I still have it, by the way. That's part of what this surgery is supposed to help me with. I'll explain that in a minute, though. I also have celiac disease, so I already had to change my diet for that. Found that out the same year. And then my father told me he was reaching 580 pounds. That scared the shit out of me. And because of my knee being in a brace, I was pretty much immobile. And the doctor told me it's not what you're eating, it's how much of it you eat. He told me to cut back to 900 calories, and I did. And I watched the weight come off. And I'm still at that, under actually, and I make sure that I don't go over that. So I'm steady at 280 because of my not being able to walk very much. So we are doing the bariatric surgery because my new gynecologist informed me that my precancer is because of my weight. And if I lose enough, it could reverse it. So, of course, I'm wanting to do anything I can to do that, because the other option is I lose my uterus, which I don't want to lose, not because of kids, because I've already been told I have polycystic ovary syndrome, and there is no way I can have kids unless I have medical intervention, and believe me, I'm good. I can barely take care of myself and my boyfriend. I cannot take care of a newborn baby. No way. So, I'm good with that. Don't worry about that. But it was when I came here to Baltimore, because that started in Pennsylvania in 2014. I came here in 2015 in Baltimore. October 10th, actually. And it took me a few months to get a visit with my new PCP out here. I saw her in January of 2016. She sent me to pain management. Well, pain management is where they found the bulging discs and wanted to do the shots in my back, which kicked in my CRPS in the end. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you'd know this, so I'm not going to go through that story again, because every time I do it makes me want to cry or just get angry. But, so here we are now to where I'm at. Current weight 288, or 280, I think it's 280. Could be 288. I don't know. It's been a little while since I've been weighed, and about a month, and I think I've lost some weight since then. So I think it's down to 280 again. But I'm really, really nervous about the surgery, but I'm also excited because all I want is to be a normal person now. I've dealt with the pain of my past, and I've dealt with other things, and now I just want to get healthy. And that's why I'm doing this. I'm not doing the full gastric bypass. I'm doing the gastric sleeve. And I feel like it's the best choice for me, so I'm doing it. People might say, oh, you're taking the easy way out. No. It's not going to be an easy way out. Not at all. I'm going to have to work for it. I'm going to have to fight through everything and try to get better. My pain is always going to be there. It's never going to go away, but I don't have to let it define my body and who I am. So I refuse to let that. And sorry, you'll see these little sores on my nose. I had a few pimples that didn't want to pop very well. I do that because I had MRSA years ago, and it nearly killed me, so I have to check it every time to make sure if they're going to pop or not, because it finally did, by the way. But if they don't, it can cause me more trouble than it's worth, so I check them. Anyway, but yeah, it's been quite the road to this, and I'm gonna make it. I'm not gonna let it take me down, no matter what. I'm determined. Been doing the diet for now, the specific bariatric diet for the 2 weeks. It's 1 shake in the morning, a snack of fruit, a shake in the afternoon, or a lunch in the afternoon, because for me, I have my pain condition, which makes cooking at night harder for me, because the later in the day it gets, the colder it gets, and the more my body hurts. So I've been cooking earlier in the day rather than at night, so that way I don't get hurt. So usually I eat my lunch, which is protein rich, and then I do my shake at night, which is a protein shake. And then I go to bed. Oh wait, after lunch I have another thing of fruit, and then a protein shake at night for dinner. So yeah, that's how it goes. And of course I have to drink water. I'm not going to drink while I'm on here because I hate the sound of that. I don't eat on camera. I don't drink on camera. I hate the sound of people going. It drives me nuts. And I'm sorry for any of you who it drives nuts too that I just did that. But I had to prove my point. It really drives me nuts. My boyfriend does it. And don't say it. Anyway, I really am excited for this. It's a week and a half now. Well, less than a half. 2 more days and it'll be a week. So, yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of have an update and give you something to talk about, because frankly, I've told you guys how I got CRPS, but I never discussed how everything else happened in my life. So, there you go. And as I said prior, I will do my best to record on the day of the surgery. Might not be till after my surgery, so if I say anything weird, I apologize. But at least listen to it, because there might be some good information in there. Don't know. Depends on the meds. I've gotten weird a few times from meds. Trust me, I've been told I get really loopy and funny. Might make for a good video. Anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I will see you soon. I'm gonna try to do another video before my surgery, and we will see how it goes. Alright, bye.